doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It's you I want to know, and the journey that brought you to this point today. Hey, yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Small Talk. I'm small. Actually, I'm Nancy, and I'm short. I don't think small and short are the same thing. Just my opinion. I think I've made it clear that I really enjoy this show. Another thing I really enjoy, improv. Now the reason why I'm mentioning it is because today's guest is the founder of SimPhoney Improv, and I am so thankful that he asked me to join. No matter what goes on in my week, I know that for 2 hours every week I'm going to have fun. I'm going to have some laughs. It's just awesome. Dave Hobson is here today to talk about improv and a bunch of other topics. So let's find out what they are. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend Dave Hobson. Sorry Dave, I didn't mean to call you Hobson. It's dry mouth. Yeah, I know you have an H on your name.
I do. I'm proud of that H.
Anyway, thanks again for being here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about improv first, okay? You started our team.
I did, yes.
SimPhoney Improv, just saying. Okay, and why did you do that?
Well, I trained with the Vancouver Theatre Sports Group down at Granville Island in Vancouver, obviously. And one of the reasons I took that was to try and create an improv group here in Chilliwack. There wasn't one, so I wanted to bring some humour to the valley.
And I'm so grateful. I mean, I'll be grateful for you forever. If I had a grandchild, I'd give you my grandchild. I mean, I don't have any to give. You took some training, as you said, in Vancouver, right? And you also train other people?
I teach improv classes. One of the classes is at the Elder College based at UFV, and that happens every February and March. I've done that for the last 5 years now.
Awesome.
And one of the people I discovered on the first course I ran there was Mary Erickson, who's now a member of our team.
Yeah, I'm so happy she is too.
Yeah.
We're trying to encourage, by the way, we're trying to encourage people to come out and just have some fun with us. You don't have to join, but just come and have some fun. You know, you might want to join, and we might want you to join. Okay, so let's move on to another topic, and I think Toastmasters is something you're very involved with.
I've been a member of Toastmasters for almost 30 years now. Started out in England, and one of the first things I did when I emigrated to Canada back in 1998 was to join the local Toastmaster club here.
I know there's Toastmasters everywhere because when I was in China one time in Beijing, I went to a Toastmaster there, and it was in English, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to understand anything. Theirs were different because I'd been a member here in Chilliwack. They did everything very straight by the book. Like it was quite interesting, you know.
Every club is a little bit different. They follow the same format pretty much, but every club operates a little bit differently depending on the personalities within that club. In addition to being a member of the Chilliwack Club now, I've also joined a club in Langley called Funny Bone Toastmasters, and they are a humour specialist club. Everything they do is based on humour.
And what is your position in Toastmasters?
I don't have an official position right now. I have been various club officer positions. I've been a division governor, area governor, and for the last 3 years, up until very recently, I was the chief ambassador for the district. Now, our district runs the whole of Vancouver Island, the lower mainland south of the River Fraser, and then right up to the Okanagan. Toastmasters has just introduced a new education program that it calls Pathways. Within Pathways, you can choose one of 10 paths that you want to follow. There are a number of projects within each path, which can lead you to whatever is most beneficial for you in your outside life.
Well, give me an example of a path.
The one I'm doing is presentation mastery, but the one's on different aspects of leadership. So if you want to follow team collaboration or becoming a leader, you can do specific projects which are going to help you in that area. As this program was being put out to the whole world, as it's now envisaged, every club had a visit from a guide or an ambassador who would show them what the program was going to be about, how it would operate, and how the transition period was going to progress. I was the chief ambassador coordinating all of these guides and ambassadors going into the clubs. So it's a huge project which I thoroughly enjoyed, a lot of work, but the whole program is now rolled out throughout the world and it's working very, very well.
Cool. Did you develop a big ego about that?
No.
Just asking. Okay, so now you wrote something about, what was it about?
I self-published a book on public speaking a number of years ago. It's called From Presentations Kill to Presentation Skill. And I sold quite a few copies of that. I've still got some on hand. But,
sitting around on a shelf somewhere?
Sitting around on a shelf, but it was fun to write.
Right. Stay tuned, we'll be right back after the short break. We're back, and I'm here with Dave Hobson, who happens to be a friend of mine, just in case I forgot to mention that earlier. So Dave, one thing I want to ask you about is the Fraser Valley Heritage Railway Society. That's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, but it's well worth saying.
Okay,
yes.
Well, then I'm glad I said it. So tell us a little bit about it. Well, us meaning, you know, the audience.
Okay. A lot of people remember the old interurban service that used to run from Vancouver through New Westminster, Langley, Abbotsford, right out to Chilliwack. In fact, there used to be several trains every day leaving Chilliwack, taking milk churns down into Vancouver.
Oh.
Unfortunately, that service was terminated back in the 1950s, so no longer running.
Right.
And at that time, most of the old train cars were destroyed, unfortunately. However, Fraser Valley Heritage Rail Society has saved 4 of them. For the last 6 years, we've been operating car number 1225, and we now have another car, 1304, which we call the Connaught car, because back in 1912, Prince Arthur, who was the Duke of Connaught, I think Queen Victoria's grandson, he was the Governor-General of Canada, and he rode on that train, that car, throughout the Fraser Valley when he came to visit. That car has now been totally restored, and we're bringing it back into service next year.
That's so
we
cool.
also have 2 other cars that are currently under restoration.
Right. You know what, I'm amazed to listen to you with the dates and the names and the people, and I'm thinking, holy moly, Dave, how do you remember all of that?
Well, this year I was elected to the board of directors of the Heritage Rail Society, so I tend to get a lot of that information. It sticks.
How did you get involved in the first place?
Well, if I'd still lived in England, I would have belonged to probably one of the Heritage Rail Societies that are currently out there.
Right.
I thought that idea had been thwarted when I came to Canada, but then 2 years ago I went along to Heritage Park where they had the Chilliwack Model Railway show going on, and the Heritage Rail Society had a booth there. I asked them all sorts of questions, find out about the information, and instantly joined as a member. The following year I became one of the volunteers, and this year I've been elected onto the board, which I'm very happy about.
So now this train, this railroad, actually runs?
It does, yeah. We're based out of Cloverdale Station, which is on the corner of Highway 10 and 176A Street.
Right.
And we run every Saturday and Sunday, 5 trains every Saturday and Sunday from the beginning of May to the end of September. And we run out from Cloverdale out to Sullivan. This year we're actually reopening the Sullivan station so people will be able to get on and get off there. And our future plans, we intend to go out right up to Newton.
Oh, cool.
And be able to operate trains right out to Newton, be able to get on and get off there as well.
Can you buy figs in Newton? Sorry, just had to ask that.
Probably.
Okay, let's change the topic completely because we can. Now, I know you're an author.
I am. I mentioned the book that I wrote a few years ago on public speaking, but I've just gotten into fiction writing now. I've started doing some short stories, but I've just self-published a book of 5 stories called Harbour Tales.
Okay.
Book 1.
Harbour Tales, Book 1.
Book 1, yes.
Meaning that there's going to be other...
I've already prepared the next 5 stories, which will come out next year, hopefully, in Book 2.
Okay, so now Harbour Tales is not for adults.
It's a children's story. Yeah.
Although adults could read it if they want it, right?
And hopefully they will.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what are the stories about?
Well, find out all the different characters within a harbour. You've got tugs, you've got cargo ships, you've got oil tankers, you've got cruise liners, little ferry boats, seaplanes, helicopters. I'm putting personalities onto all of those characters that you find within a harbour, and telling different stories about each one.
So what made you come up with that concept to begin with?
Well, I grew up under the influence of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. You've probably seen those stories, yeah? And I always envisaged trying to create some stories in a similar sort of vein. The idea of a harbour came to me when I looked at Vancouver Harbour. That was my inspiration, and all the different characters that you can see in that harbour.
Right.
That's where the idea came from.
So now if somebody wanted to buy a copy of your book, how would they do that?
It is available on Amazon, and also you can buy it through Indigo, Chapters, Coles, Barnes & Noble. It's an online purchase at the moment, but we're trying to get it actually into the stores as well.
Oh, okay. Now would it be in our local library?
I'm going to approach the library, and also I have a couple of friends who are connected to the school district, and they're going to try and get it into the school library system as well.
Now, are you ever going to do those, you know how you can go, well, even at the library and do a reading? So you can have an audience of all these little kids with their parents, you know?
Yep.
Because it'll be like weird if it's just you and the little kids. I think the parents should be there.
It would, yeah. That is part of my plan to market the book, and also maybe do a local book signing as well.
Well, you know, Dave, this has been really fun, but I think we're kind of out of time.
That's a shame. I've so much enjoyed this, Nancy.
I know.
Thank you.
Me too, and thanks for coming on. And thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. Peace out.